Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. It's the time of the weekend. It's Premier League predictions time. Another round of Premier League fixtures is almost upon us this weekend as the run-in continues. We are down to the final 6 or 7 games, depending on whether you've got games in hand or not, of the season. And of course, this is the video where I go through each and every single game, talk about them, analyse them, and of course give my predictions on how I think each and every single game will go, as this round of Premier League fixtures again will affect the entirety of the Premier League table. It is really getting close to the wire where things are starting to be fully decided. With that, before we get into all of that though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always very greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, but most of all, of course, your predictions. This is, after all, a Premier League predictions video, people. So do get involved with your predictions down below and how you think each and every single game will go this weekend. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's get on with the predictions. And first and foremost, we have got kicking off the weekend, the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday between Newcastle and Tottenham, and I've gone with a 2-2 draw. You've got a European football chasing Newcastle, who are starting to get a bit of resilience at the end of the season, starting to put together a few decent results here and there that are starting to really try and find their way into European football to really end their season on a high against Tottenham, who are back in the top 4, have a game in hand over Aston Villa, and are looking to really make that pay. Typically, Tottenham tend to falter in games where the pressure's really on them, and this one is no different. Newcastle, despite the fact that they are chasing some form of European football to end the season, haven't exactly been at their best throughout the campaign. This is a good opportunity for Spurs to get a win here, to put the pressure on Aston Villa before they play on Sunday against Arsenal of all teams. So that is going to be huge for both of those sides in the race for top 4 and the race for obviously Champions League football. It's a massive opportunity for Spurs, but how many times have we seen Spurs choke in these kinds of scenarios? I'm expecting a very good game of football though. I'm expecting it to be very open, very end-to-end. Both teams have got some very good players that can obviously hurt the other. Both teams have their own weaknesses, though, which can affect the other. But I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I'm going to call it down the middle. If I had to pick a winner, I'd probably be leaning more towards Spurs. But it just depends defensively if their defensive frailties are going to obviously shine or be strengthened in this game. I know, obviously, Mickey van der Ven is in such fantastic form. And I know that, obviously, Pedro Porro has been very consistent all season. But with the way that they play their high line and the kind of high risk, high reward football, it is something that maybe the informed Alexander Isak maybe could look to exploit, in particular with Newcastle going the other way. It could be a very intriguing game, this one, and one that I'm very much looking forward to viewing. So, yeah, interesting game, interesting stuff to look forward to for our Saturday lunchtime viewing. I've gone with 2-2, but like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs managed to pull off the win in this one. Next up, Brentford taking on Sheffield United, and I've gone with a 2-1 win to Brentford. Of course, Sheffield United will want to build upon that draw that they picked up at Chelsea last week. But this is a big relegation clash in which I can only really see one winner. Unfortunately for Sheffield United, I think they are already down, but it isn't for the ones that are trying down there. As for Brentford, they'll obviously want to put a few more points between themselves and the drop zone in order to kind of steer clear of relegation. This is a very good opportunity to do so in a big relegation battle. I've gone with 2-1. I think they'll have a bit more firepower than Sheffield United in the final third, and I think that will be the ultimate downfall of Chris Wilder's side in this one. And that's why I just think that Brentford will ultimately win this game. I think they just have the better quality in most of the key areas of the pitch. Next up, Burnley against Brighton. Burnley against Brighton at Turf Moor. I've gone with 1-1 here. And again, probably one of them games where you look at maybe the away side being the favourite in this one, and probably wouldn't surprise you at all if they went on to win the game. But I've gone with a draw. I think Burnley in recent weeks they were a bit unlucky against Everton last week. Not to have picked up anything in that game. But then in recent weeks before that, they actually started to pick up a few points here and there. I think they'll keep it going. I think they'll pick up a point here, and they'll try and keep things a little bit interesting going forward into the running of the campaign for their obviously fight against relegation. For Brighton, of course, look, European football isn't at the realms of possibility, but they really need to start picking up points on a more consistent basis between now and the run-in. This is a very good opportunity for the Seagulls to get back to winning ways, but obviously De Zerbi's side in recent weeks haven't exactly been... They've been still good to watch at times, but in terms of picking up results, there's more style than substance going on at the Amex Stadium right now and with the Seagulls. So, again, it wouldn't surprise me if Burnley did pick up something from this game, but it ultimately wouldn't surprise me if the favourite actually did go on and beat the underdog. So, wouldn't surprise me any which way, but I've gone with a 1-1 draw for the game at Turf Moor. Next up, Manchester City against Luton. One of your more favourable games this one should be. At the Etihad, Man City going strong. Man City looking to obviously chase the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool down to the wire in this Premier League title race. And they've got a very good opportunity to put the pressure on both of those sides before they play on Sunday with a game against Luton Town. Now, of course, we know that Luton will battle for everything and anything that is going on in any of their games going forward. We know that. We've seen it all season. We know that they've given some of the bigger sides a run for their money already during this campaign, and Man City were no exception. City scrambling a 2-1 win earlier on in the campaign when these two teams met. So I'm expecting a tough Luton side, but ultimately I'm expecting City's quality to shine through overall and to be perfectly capable of beating this Luton side, getting the 3 points, and ultimately putting the pressure on the top two teams this weekend. So City to win by 3-1. The likes of Phil Foden and Erling Haaland to be on the score sheet, I'm sure. Ultimately, another day at the office for Pep Guardiola's side, it should be. Here's to hoping, though, that Luton can spring a surprise. But you never know. Next up, Nottingham Forest are against Wolves in this interesting Midlands clash here. Forest, of course, battling relegation, just outside the bottom three on goal difference. Wolves had a bit of a rough few weeks. Results haven't exactly been going their way. Again, a few bits of unfortunate refereeing. Maybe VAR could go into that as well. Don't think anyone else has suffered as badly as what Wolves had this season, and they've gone a bit under the radar because, you know, they're not one of the big six teams, but everyone suffers, but Wolves have seemed to suffer a little bit more. But anyway, I digress. About the game. Look, the Forest need to pick up points. That is an understatement. Wolves are going to be tough opposition. I've gone with a 1-1 draw. I can see this finishing up as a draw. Ballum, if you're watching, it could possibly be a 0-0 draw. This one, both teams go cancel each other out. I know you like a 0-0 draw. Not me personally, but I know you do. I've gone with 1-1 here. I simply think that the form of Chris Wood would probably seem to suggest that he's probably going to get on the score sheet here. But Wolves cancel most teams out. They're difficult to play against. They're difficult to break down, and they're difficult to keep quiet at the other end. They do play some good football, and I've said many a time that I rate and I like the work that Gary O'Neill has done at Wolves this season. I think he's done very, very well. Played some good stuff. So they are very quiet to keep out in the attacking third. They're very difficult to break down in the defensive third at times. It depends which kind of Wolves side is going to turn up in this one. But of course, Forest are battling for their lives, and that could ultimately trigger a huge performance from those in red. So it could be an interesting game, this one, for intriguing and table-like reasons where they are in the table. But I've gone with Forest to get a point. Wouldn't surprise me whichever way round this result goes, but there you have it. 1-1 is what I predicted in this game. Next up, Bournemouth taking on Manchester United, and I've gone with 2-1 to Bournemouth here. Earlier on in the campaign, Bournemouth absolutely wiped the floor with Manchester United at Old Trafford, winning by 3-0, I believe. In this one, I've gone with a Bournemouth win yet again, and the reason is that because United in the past few weeks haven't played great. They've not played great. They picked up an unlikely point against Brentford, which, if Brentford had taken their chances, should have been more for the Bees on that one. They obviously lost and bottled it completely in injury time, deep into injury time against Chelsea, losing 4-3. And if it weren't for a couple of exceptional high quality moments in the game against Liverpool, they would have ultimately lost to Liverpool as well. Exceptional goals from the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie Mainoo helping them out on that day. And every time that United do seem to pick up a decent result, no one was expecting them to pick up any kind of result against Liverpool, but they did. They tend to go on and lose it in a game that is more favourable to them. We've seen it time and time again this season. They've picked up a decent result, and then they've only gone and lost the next game to a side that you wouldn't normally expect them to lose to, or you wouldn't probably anticipate them to lose to. And I think this is going to be the scenario again. United haven't been great since the return of club football from the international break. They played 3 games within the past 8 days from that Liverpool game. Didn't play very well in the Brentford game, didn't play very well in the Liverpool game. Managed to get a point in both. Bottled it against Chelsea. I think Bournemouth will fancy their chances of winning this one. I think the Vitality Stadium will be up for it. I think they're going to be playing some really good football, and they have been doing for the most part this season. Sometimes it's just stopping conceding stupid goals. That's been Bournemouth's problem. And I think they'll really fancy their chances against this Manchester United side, and that's why I think that they will get something from this game. At the very least, I think Bournemouth will draw, but I've actually backed them to go on and win this one. So I've gone 2-1 to Bournemouth. I think it's going to be another rough day for Manchester United, and a bit of a reality check from obviously the point that they picked up last week against Liverpool. So, could be interesting on that one. Moving ahead to Sunday's games, and first up we have got Liverpool, who are going to be taking on Crystal Palace at Anfield. And I've gone with a 2-1 win to Liverpool in this one. I think the home advantage will get them across the finish line by hook or by crook. We know that Liverpool haven't themselves been playing... It's been weird. It's been dominating performances by Liverpool, but not killing the game off. So, I mean, if Liverpool can get a few more goals here, put the real pressure on Arsenal, because they will be playing before Arsenal do later on that day, on that same day. So, if Liverpool can get the win here, get a few more goals to maybe cancel or to reduce, should we say, the goal difference between themselves and Arsenal, that would be fantastic. And against the Crystal Palace side, who have got an informed striker in Mateta, of course. He's on a very good goal-scoring run right now. He is a bit of a threat. They've, of course, got other kind of threats in the mix as well, as Crystal Palace are getting used to their new manager, Oliver Glasner. But at the same time, Liverpool should be the ones getting through this game. I know that Palace, in the past, have been a bit of a dodgy side for Liverpool to face and have posed them plenty of food for thought over the years, but Liverpool should get the job done here. And I'm expecting them to do so in this one. I've said 2-1, but if they can get more goals and we can reduce the goal difference between ourselves and Arsenal, that would be fantastic. So I'm expecting Liverpool to get back to winning ways against Palace in this one, and to really put the pressure on Arsenal before they play it later on that same day. West Ham against Fulham is up next, and I've gone 2-1 West Ham, but really this could be any scoreline. Fulham are really awkward to predict for me. I go any sort of result for Fulham. They seem to get the polar opposite. I go with a draw. One of the two teams wins. I go with a win for Fulham. They lose. I don't know. It's very weird. It's very, very awkward and very strange as far as what Fulham are concerned in this one. I've gone with West Ham to win. I think they may have the better firepower. The likes of James Ward-Prowse pulling the strings, alongside obviously Jarrod Bowen, Mohamed Kudus, Mikel Antonio, obviously going forward. It's going to be very interesting to watch. The extra game midweek for West Ham could be very interesting and could be a big factor, though. Obviously, West Ham involved in Europa League commitments, so that could play into Fulham's hands as well. It's always worth pointing that out. But I'm expecting a very direct game between both sets of teams. Fulham have the tendency to sometimes mix it up. They can play a little bit more technical, but I'm expecting it to be a very direct game of football. Maybe a bit more end-to-end in this one. But it could be an intriguing game in that aspect, but maybe not one that is going to be very well watched considering the other games that are going to be playing this weekend. So I've gone with West Ham 2-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham managed to pick up a draw in this one or not. It could be very intriguing to obviously find out in this one. But yeah, West Ham, I think, have the extra firepower, and that should see them across the finish line with the 3 points. We're going to jump ahead now to Monday's game, and we are at oh, no. They should be the other way around. My bad. I should have swapped them the other way around. Anyway, it says it should have Goodison Park, but I made a mistake. It is actually at Stamford Bridge. I haven't swapped them around. That's my bad. I put them the wrong way around. Anyway, it's at Stamford Bridge. It is Chelsea taking on Everton. And I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Now again, similar to Fulham, Chelsea are a side that no matter what I predict, they seem to always get the opposite kind of result. I predict them to win, they lose. I predict them to lose, they draw. I predict them to draw, one of the two teams win. Whatever the case may be. It is so weird to predict Chelsea right now. But it was very typical of Chelsea's season, wasn't it, last week? The 4-3 incredible victory over Manchester United in the dying stages of the game, in the dying embers of the game, deep in injury time, was followed up by a 2-2 draw against Sheffield United, in which, ironically, Sheffield United were the ones to rescue a point deep in injury time. I don't know what to expect. I'm expecting Everton to be right up for it. I'm expecting them to be fresh off of yet another points deduction for the Toffees, for them to be right up for it yet again in this kind of fixture. And I'm expecting them to really fancy their chances of putting Chelsea away. Will they do so or not remains to be seen. We know that goals are very difficult to come by for Everton. And as for Chelsea, killing games off is often difficult to come by for them. So this one could be a very, very, very strange kind of game in which both sides can't kill the game off, but there's going to be plenty of chances. For me, Everton have to take their opportunities from set pieces. If Everton can really exploit Chelsea's weakness from set pieces and defending them, Everton may stand a very good chance of beating this Chelsea side. I think they could really, really do well from set pieces on this one. For Chelsea, it's all about whether they can stick their chances away. It's going to be big for both of these sides. It might be a bit of an awkward game. Obviously, it would mean more to Everton considering they are battling relegation. But I have gone with a 1-1 draw, but really this could be any kind of result, in all honesty. Honestly, I'm not shocked anymore by either of these two teams and whatever kind of result will play out. I'm not going to be shocked in any way, shape or form, whatever this result goes. But I have gone with 1-1. Everton to pick up a point towards their survival bid, and they'll take it from there. So we'll see how that goes. And finally, in what I believe to be the biggest game of this round of fixtures, the main event of this round of Premier League fixtures, we are at the Emirates for Arsenal against Aston Villa. Top of the table Arsenal, by goal difference, may not be there by the time kickoff comes around, but obviously we'll have a chance to maybe return there depending on the results and things of the other two teams that are chasing that Premier League title in Manchester City and Liverpool are facing Champions League chasing Aston Villa. Now, earlier on in the season, of course, Villa managed to beat Arsenal at home. This time, they are away from home. It's going to be a massive task for Villa to perform and get a result in this one. We know that Arsenal's defence is watertight, pretty much. We know that they don't concede too many opportunities. We know that Arsenal are looking dangerous on the attack as well. And we know that with a bit between their teeth, the Premier League title is now firmly within their hands and their advantage with the goal difference that they possess. Will the pressure get to Arsenal? Or will they manage to handle that pressure? That's going to be the big question going into these games now. And this one is a massive task for both of these sides. We know that obviously Aston Villa aren't as good away from home as they are at home. And that could really be to Arsenal's advantage here. But that still doesn't mean that a familiar face in the dugout of Aston Villa in Unai Emery, a former Arsenal manager, could not just return to haunt his former club, could it? Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping Aston Villa do us a massive favour this weekend, and I'm hoping that Aston Villa manage to get points off of Arsenal. But I don't see it happening that way, and that's why I've gone with a 3-1 prediction that you can see right here. I want to say Aston Villa win, and I think that they have the capabilities of getting points off of Arsenal. But at the same time, I just think there's this different level that Arsenal are playing on right now that is just so scary. It's just so scary the way that they are controlling games, the way that they are balancing attack and defence, the way they're taking their chances, the way they are neutralising the opposition into having the most minimal of opportunities or chances created. Yes, there may be a little bit of luck to it, but you need that bit of luck. And anyone who says that you don't need luck is obviously fooling themselves. Any Premier League champion or any champion of any sport, of anyone who's ever done anything in any sport, obviously needs a bit of luck. There is a little bit of luck with Arsenal. Don't get me wrong. There is a little bit of luck with Man City right now. There's a little bit of luck with Liverpool, of course. That is to be the case. But obviously, when you look at the bigger picture, Arsenal and their defensive line and their attacking line and the midfield that is controlling everything right now is just working like a very well-oiled machine. And I see that continuing in this game. As much as I want Aston Villa to win, and as much as I want Aston Villa to at least take some points off of Arsenal for the sake of my own club, I unfortunately cannot see it happening. I'm hoping Unai Emery's got a plan. I'm hoping Unai Emery will return to haunt his former club. But I just don't see it happening. I've gone 3-1 Arsenal. I'm expecting a very, very exciting and interesting game to unfold before our very eyes. And I just think Arsenal's quality will tell the later the game goes. 3-1 to Arsenal. Them to remain top of the league. And as for Aston Villa, that's a bit of a slip in their pursuit of obviously Champions League football going forward. And there you have it. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions. Most of all, of course, though, predictions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of all the games that are coming up this weekend? What are your own thoughts, comments, opinions? But most of all, of course, what are your predictions on each and every single game that is coming up this weekend? Another round of exciting and intriguing Premier League fixtures. Let me know down below in the comments section what you guys think and feel all on that kind of stuff. Would love to hear from you all on that. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League predictions video. And I'm going to speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.